Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a game in progress. We had a little delay starting the streaming this morning. I'll introduce myself. I'm Steve Zelkin in the league. Most of the time I go by Zell these days, but this is my first time streaming and I'm glad to be here. Sarah?
Hello, everybody. I'm Sarah, also known as Wolfos. Uh, I've been doing commentary a couple times here, so it's always nice to have new people doing commentary. And looking at this game in progress, so we're in East 2, dealer is currently ahead. Has some good shapes here. Has that lone East Dora. Uh, Seems like there's only one out there in the player across from us hand, so I won't be surprised if that East comes out eventually. Over to the right, we already have a call of the White Dragon. Have it just reached Tempai there, waiting on North and Green Dragon. Looks like one Green Dragon has already been discarded.
One north is the Dora indicator, so it's just a two-tile wait.
Just two tiles. Though that may help out since the Green Dragon has been once cut. Perhaps if someone draws it from the wall, they'll just toss it immediately. We'll have to see.
Dealer has paired the East Dora, but both of the Easts are currently held, so unless the players are motivated to throw it, he's not going to see it.
Right, tossing that east now can be pretty scary considering that it's been this far, no easts have dropped, and we're in east round. So that is a lot of potential Han out there on the table. Though some may choose to call just to get into Tempai because
Boom.
those easts by themselves are really just destroying their chances of completing their hands. And looks like
Yeah,
dealer did call, so is really locking in that
Boom.
east.
and
Oh,
we're
and we
seeing a
see some
Honitsu
calls
shift
too.
across the way to try to incorporate the East as even a pair.
Yes, an excellent
See.
decision there. Yep, and that Chun coming out. So pretty much confirming that they're going to wait on that east Tonki. Oh, and over to the left because we have not talked about this hand yet. We have some very nice shapes going on here. Ipe Coach hand.
Boom.
Oh, it came out to go for
Oh, it
Chinitsu.
did come out. Interesting.
That is Tenpai waiting on the Formon for
Yes.
Chinitsu.
So we have a Chinitsu versus a
Boom.
dealer. Oh, and there it comes out. Ouch. So double Ton, 3 Dora, that is a dealer Mandan. But when you have a Chinitsu of your own, it can be so tempting to toss tiles.
Dealer's got some nice shapes to start with here. I mourn the loss of the six there because of this potential distant Sanshoku, but it seems like the hand's moving along nicely on its own.
See.
Right, already Ishan 10. Oh, and we have an early call across the table on 789. So I guess relying on those Wests as their Yaku High, perhaps Chanta as well. Maybe. A little bit of a stretch though, especially with that Formon drop.
It'll be hard
Over
to see the West because I think on the left we might be seeing a Kokushi attempt here. I don't know, actually. They've thrown away some outside tiles already, but they just have so many isolated honors. It's going to be interesting to see what they do.
right. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, and there's the West. Hmm. I guess you have a pair of East and pair of West, so it's not the worst situation.
It's a little premature for me to call it a Kokushi attempt because it's definitely not one if they've thrown away two end tiles
Boom.
already, unless they draw them back.
Oh, and there comes that East. So perhaps pivoting here into a Honitsu. And the poor dealer's hand was so nice, but just has not drawn the tiles they need. Having to discard 2 pairs already. And over to the right, have some shapes. Hand still has a way to go, and we're already at the beginning of the second row. It doesn't help that they keep on drawing the tiles they just discarded.
It's interesting because nobody's closer yet than Dealer, and Dealer hasn't made a lot of progress just because just a lot of bad draws.
Right? It's always frustrating when you get into that situation of, oh, my hand is so beautiful, but then nothing. Absolutely nothing. Oh, and look at all of those pairs in the dealer's discard there.
Boom.
Oh, and another call from the player on the left. So getting closer to that Honitsu shape, also perhaps Toy Toy. Though looking around the table, we see 1 6-0 in dealer's hand, 1 in the player across. I guess the
That
Wests
is
are
10
still on the
pie
wall.
finally for the Dealer after all this
Finally!
time.
Though unfortunately, not a great tempai there, waiting on the Forso when there's already a call
Boom.
over to the left.
Oh, we have 2 players waiting from the Forso.
It'll be interesting if we see a double wrong situation on a Hellweight Forso, but it seems pretty firmly in over to the left there.
We'll see
So,
a
or over
weight
to the
we might
right,
see a weight
excuse me.
change, yep. Weight change to the Shabo, knowing there's only 1 Forso left.
Right,
This is a
so almost certainly
2-tile
not
no, a
coming out.
1-tile weight now in the last 8, so I don't see anything else.
Right, but dealer has no Yaku here. So really is just trying to get to Tenpai payments. Yeah, and it looks like that is it. So,
That definitely works. I think by the time he got to 10 pie, it would have just been kind of a throwing away a stick wastefully. There's only like 2 draws left, so
right. Looking at the table here, we already have 4 Hompa. So I would imagine some quick calls to get those nice sticks on the table. Though interestingly, the dealer chooses not to call that Chun pair.
yeah, that's an interesting choice. I think as the dealer, you can always defend going quickly. Once again, Riley has the West pair as a seat, and once again, John on the left has the pair of it by drawing the second West on the first turns. They're going to both be sitting on those pairs again until one of them decides to cut from it or just keep it for the whole round.
Ooh, dealer perhaps having that 4 5 6 Sancho shape, which would be nice. Though still has a way to go there. And over to the right, we have some nice completed shapes here. Have your pair. So that hand definitely looks solid here. Oh, and there's that last
Boom.
chun, and the dealer does decide to take it. Which I think is the way to go, because otherwise those having your chun
See.
pair, chuns be the pair. Oh, and now Tenpai waiting on 3 6. We see 2 of those tiles on the table. So 6 left in the wall. Pretty nice.
And Chunomi with the Honba ends up being 2,700 points here. Another 12, no, 1,200. Yeah, an extra 1,200.
相撲
Oh, and there's the sumo. True know me, but hey, with all those sticks, you take it. And just adding more sticks to the table. And another pretty good starting hand. Headless at the moment, but definitely has potential for perhaps a Pinfu shape. Already has a Dora in hand, maybe Tanyao. Very nice. Over to the right, we have a very nice shape in Monzu. So
Across,
a
we
lot
almost
of,
have a completed Itsu already. Just needs a Forso.
or form. Oh yes, on the player across from us. Very nice.
Just pretty good starting hands all around here.
Oh, and to the right, just drawing Monzu after Monzu. Beautiful, beautiful shapes going on over there. It will be interesting to see if there will be some calls or if they're going to try to keep it closed.
Looks like they have committed to a flush now, doing a Kanchan drop.
Right. When you have that many Monzu in your hand, you might as well. But ooh, this is tricky. Do you
地位
accept this call? And they do. Really locking in Jinitsu, but I think that's gonna be it.
Yeah, it's still early games. We're still in East 2, despite there being so many hands, and getting only a Chinitsu here is still 9,500 points. So that'll
地位
do a lot to put them in a position to get out of last place.
So dealer decides to call here, going for a Tanya Eldora hand. Which, when you add in all of the sticks on the table, is actually a pretty decent hand. And might be a little bit scared of not seeing any tiles in
Don't.
the or any Monsu in player on the right's discard, but they do deal in to that Tanyel Dora hand, and it's always a bit intimidating to see a 60K point total here in East 2.
A pretty strong decision to call for the Tanyao there, though, when you're waiting in a suit that's not the flush, because they're just probably going to discard it.
So looking at this new hand, dealer is an okay starting hand. Definitely not as good as the last one, but potential there. Has that lone East Dora. It really feels like it should be South round and that East not worth as much, but no, still East too. Over to the right. This hand needs some work. We have a lot of shapes that are begging to be completed, but nothing complete quite yet. Across from us, a couple completed shapes. Tanyao, maybe Pinfu. Well, we'll have to see.
Kind of maybe Tanyao as well, because that 2/3 Mon Ryanmen can kind of kill your Tanyao if you get a 1, but they had the best high pie and just haven't really made a lot of forward movement. And on the left, at this point, they've made progress. There's some completed shapes, but still not exactly close.
Looking at back at the dealer here, lots of nice shapes and pairs here. I would not be surprised if the dealer just starts calling. 'Cause when you have 6 Hamba on the table, you just want to get any kind of hand.
The challenge with this hand is that you have the 2-3 pin, so one pin is kind of troublesome, and it's also technically a 6 block hand.
Right.
So something could go, something needs to go eventually.
So at the end of the second row here, and interestingly, no one has called yet. Partially because no one has really had the opportunity to, though there have been a few chances. Ooh, another completed shape there. So Ishan 10. And looking around the table, no one else, I think, is in Ishan 10. Everyone is
Chi.
still building their hands. Oh, and our first call.
Each.
Oh, and there we go. Ricci, I guess there was one player in Ishan 10. I must have missed it. So, waiting on the 3 pin only. Looks like one has been called, one's in the discard, and the other 2
Declines.
are in the dealer and the player across's
It's like
hands.
Michael declines the chi for 10 pi. You'd have to cut 2 so there, which doesn't look awesome, but it's so I can understand that decision. Like, oh, I've done enough with my dealership. Time to move on.
All right, so just like that, the reign of terror of the dealer is over. We can finally move to East 3, but
E3 7 though.
East 3 7.
So already an extra 3,100 points in the pot with the Ricci stick and the Honba.
Right, and dealer here has that Hatsu there. Great for calling and trying to get those points as much as possible, especially since they're in last place right now. But looking around the table, ooh, to the right, that is lots of nice
Six-
shapes going
6
on.
blocks, but really good shapes, yeah.
Yeah. Right now,
Across the way we've
Tanyao
got
could easily be Pinfu.
across the way we've got Sanchoku chances and Ryanpeiko chances, depending on what's drawn. That should be exciting to watch as
Ooh,
well.
I love Rampeiko.
Especially if they draw a 9 so it could see Junchan Ryanpeiko.
Oh no, that would be amazing. But there may not be enough time because to the left we have that Chun call. And all these nice shapes
Chi.
here, decides to drop the 5, and there's another call.
Interesting drop with a 5. It leaves Ryanmen with a east left over, but you lose the ability to call that east for 10 pi if you cut one of the Ryanmen.
Ooh, so across the table, we he did get another 8 mon, chose to toss that 9. So maybe trying to pivot to more of a So alas, no Juntron no Juntron potential anymore. Oh, and
Oh,
they
and
draw
there it
the
is.
9.
It's just
Should've
hanging onto that Dora when there's almost more value in the not Dora tile in that case.
Chi.
And another call, so to the left, there is Tenpai
Home.
waiting on 2-5. Oh, and dealer also gets into Tenpai waiting on 3 mon 6-0. Oh, and there goes that Dora. Tossed it too late.
2,000 points becomes 5,100 for an even larger lead.
Oh,
And we
wow.
finally cleared the Honba.
Finally.
Still not in South yet, but if I were any of these players, I'd be trying to think like, how can I get back over 30K just to avoid having to get that 0 UMA for second.
Right, and Michael's just sitting pretty up there. When you have 63K and it's East 4, you're feeling
Michael's
pretty
already
nice.
also Ishan 10 with 2 Dora.
Right.
With a
Hey, when the
7, 8,
wall
9
decides
Sanshoku chance already.
when
Oh,
the
there goes the
wall when the wall wants to give you such nice hands, you just take them and run with it.
So dealer has some shapes here. Still a couple tiles away, but really, really could use an 8. Player on the right has similar shapes. I mean, looking around the table, all the hands look similarly close.
Ooh, so unfortunately, Michael is in Tempai, but chose not to reach, and
1、
that 7 pin came out, but now does reach,
Should be
waiting on
noted.
South and 6 pin.
Should be noted
One,
that, like I said earlier, if the 9-man was in hand, you could have rolled the 7 for Sanshoku, but the cuts were just in the wrong order to keep that Yaku alive.
so we see one South already cut, and one 6 pin in over to the left. So one chance on each. But looking around the table, everyone is building up some nice shapes and nice hands. Question is, will they be able to get there in time?
Dealer with a very solid Ishan 10 right now. 1 4 so 3 4 6 pin is 10 pi. 5 mon is 10 pi.
Right, possible. Ooh,
1、
yep, there's that reach. So reach, Pinfu, maybe Ipeco. Though unfortunately,
1、
oh, and there's another reach,
Dong.
but tosses that 6 into the wrong. So reach, 2 Dora, and Michael just keeps going and going and going. So finally, we've made it to South.
ポン、
And a quick call already. Perhaps going for Honitsu? Still a little far, though.
Really depends on what you draw. The shapes are not awesome other than the completed. Now that's an excellent draw. There's a
Now
Dora.
that's good. Speaking of good, this dealer hand, also pretty good. Got some nice shapes.
Yeah, the
Have that
Steeler
Yaku
hand
High
can
potential.
be a quick south. There's a Sanshoku potential, albeit distant. But the south is going to be dependent on when Michael chooses to get rid of his double seat win with 1 cut.
1、
Oh, looking over to the right, we do have a call. Probably hoping on that chun, on those chuns to actually make the Yakuhai there. And we have another call. Those Dora Green Dragons.
And now this is
That
spicy.
Gee.
Honitsu to Yakuhai 3 Dora.
and we do have Tempai over to the right. Needs that chun to actually have a Yaku though.
And dealer's 10 pi 4 7 pin for non-Nomi.
Oh, and there's
Dong.
that chun. But honestly, if you're gonna deal into your hand, I'd rather deal into that one than that Hanuman over to the left.
Michael's reign of
Boom.
terror just continues here with an early east call.
He just can't be stopped. So will we see another? Oh, what did it go up to? 7 Hamba?
Yes, it did. It was a few Honba from the first dealer and then passing it along with the Ryukyoku. Interesting, we saw a declined call of the Haku here from the player on the left.
Right. It's an interesting situation uh, these players find themselves in because with Michael having such a commanding lead, you're probably not going to overtake that. So now you have to sort of fight for second, as it were.
It's like Michael's opting to keep Dora acceptance here over the new Ryamen that's created.
So looking at some of the other hands over to the right. Oh, well, before that, we do have Tempai from dealer waiting on 3/6 Mon for Ton Wandora. But as I was saying, over to the right, some very, very nice shapes going on here. So unfortunately, may not be fast enough. And they really need points.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
sticky situation because you're tempted to not call anything either, because with a hand like this, especially because you want to be able to just reach it.
right. It's always an
I
interesting situation when you
think
get
we're
into
seeing a
something like
pivot.
this, where
From
you're so far behind, you you don't have enough time
Sumo.
to make cheap hands. Oh, but Michael does get that sumo for Ton Wandora. Just keeps climbing and climbing. And has another decent starting hand.
4 pairs start, so we'll see how it goes. On the right, we've got Chun pair, 2 Dora, so that's going to
Boom.
be in just probably a quick call and try to get as much value out of it as possible. Already see a Haku call across. Also 1 Dora over there, however, it's not connected. And on the left, we have a big chain of Manzu, possible Itsu, and good shape and pin, otherwise just scattered tiles.
Boom.
Oh, and another call. Unfortunately, the hand's is going to be pretty cheap with Haku only.
It's going to be Haku
It's
Dora
not
at this
going to be
point. Since
enough
they did
to.
link the Dora.
Oh, and one Dora.
We've got Chitoi Ishanten for Michael here. Oh, he broke it.
And honestly, as much as I like Chitoy, I don't blame him. It can be pretty slow. Though then again, doesn't exactly need the points. So you could go for a slower hand, but that
That's
Forso is
that's an
nice.
amazing draw to keep going. I was going to say the rest of the shapes are slow, but that does speed it up quite a bit. Okay, back to Ishanten for Michael.
Oh, that is an excellent fill. So Tempai on the 3 mon across for Haku Wandora. And there goes the Chun. Which shape will be broken? If it's that 3/4 mon, we could see a deal in right here.
Yeah, the
Ooh,
3/4 pin is better just because of the overlap that already exists by having a 5 pin already, so saved by just efficiency.
indeed. And there's that south call,
A 10 pie.
adding double south.
It's going to be a Mandan.
So, yeah, Chun double south to Dora. Waiting.
Sumo.
Oh, and there's that tomb on there, that is exactly the type of hand they need to get back into this. At least now you have the potential here to get into third at the very least. But you have to make this dealership count. And it looks like they're starting out with a lot of pairs. But I would be worried about going the 7 pairs route because it may just be too slow. And unfortunately, has to drop a pair right there of the south, which could have been great for speeding up that hand.
With how connected all the pairs are to things near them, this could just be played normally. Doesn't need to be bogged down.
Right. It could just be more of a standard hand.
The 8
And
and 9 so block is really not great because there's not as many tiles that can accept as something in the center, but we're seeing a lot of great draws right now. That 4 mon is excellent.
right. And you can make one of those your pair and toss the other as you get better shapes. But it is Ishan 10 now.
Quickly going around the table before we get any deeper into this. On the right, they've got some pretty nice shapes. There's 2 pairs there, but that 9 pin makes like a distant Sanshoku again possible in 7, 8, 9. Across the table, there are also some good shapes, not quite there yet. Couple Kanchans to fill in. And on the left, we have
Boom.
headless, but a number of Ryanmen to fill in.
So we do see a call across the table. Though the only thing there, so maybe you could get Sanshoku, but it may
That
just turn out to be a Tanyao hand.
that 6-pin Karagiri is interesting to me. Karagiri, when you just throw a tile in your hand that matches what you drew, because I think priority keeping the dealership is fine here, and if you were to throw the 9 so pair, you could just pawn and go for Tanyao.
Right, just pivoting to Tanyao because
And it's not just
what you
Tanya. There is already a
absolutely
Dora too.
right. You just when you're at this point total, you can't give up this dealership. You absolutely need it. And as we get further and further along here, oh, and see those 6s would have been nice to keep with that 5 draw, but you just need to make sure by the end you were in Tempai. Keep this dealership going. So over to the left, we now it's still an Ishan 10, but very close.
The left is Ishan 10. Across the way is Ishan 10. We have Anko headless Ishan 10, which is really strong in terms of getting into Tenpai on the right now. I mean, on the left, excuse me.
Decides to toss that 5 to have that safe tile of the west. But at this point, it's probably too late to Ricci. So I almost would have kept the 5 so maybe to, well, does that
Just to
even
try to
help?
get into Tenpai. I don't know with that kind of a
Yeah.
lead. I don't think it matters, but
Chi.
if you keep the
Oh,
extra
yes,
5
that is true.
so,
That is Michael over there.
yeah, if you keep the extra 5 so, it should be said that you can draw. There's 2 Ryanmen there, so you can draw 4, 5, 6, 7 pin and 6, 7, 8, 9 so for it to Tenpai because you can make a pair out of your Ryanmen shape, which is just fairly strong. We see dealer get into Tenpai at the last second.
Dealer praying that no one deals in on this last tile. There we go. All right. So another dealership.
Now, since third place is within 12,000 points among Gansumo, Zidoya is plenty enough to close the gap.
Right. So they definitely have potential here to get out of fourth, which would be very nice for them. And this hand, not amazing. That 3-mon makes it a lot better. Fill in that shape. Oh, and that 6-pin is also very nice. Could upgrade this to an Ipeco. Tanyao Ipeco, but still
Chi.
headless. Oh, and does choose to Chi. So going just for Tanyao.
Well,
Looking around the
now can have a
table.
Dora, but yeah, let's go around the table. Go ahead.
Yes, so to the left, or to the right, we have some good shapes here. 2 Dora. Looks like a Tanyao hand to me. Across the table, lots of, or 3 pairs. Oh, well, actually only 1 completed shape there. With a little bit of overlap, you have that 1, 2, 3, 4 and pin. So still need some work. Then over to the left, you have 1 completed shape here.
If you
We
wanted
have
to go
another 1, 2,
fast and
3,
try to
4.
end a dealership, I would say a 1-2-3 Sanchoku
Boom.
is doable here, but do you want to stick your neck out there for that amount of points right now? It's L3 when you're in that big of a lead. I don't know. Dealer and Tenpai with Tanyo only, and that's 7. So wait, see 2 of them held, pretty well locked up.
Oh, and there's that 7 so. Or another one of them at least. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting position when you're this far ahead. Because on the one hand, you're this far ahead, you don't need the points, and so you can just fold at everything. But on the other hand, you could think, well, I'm so far ahead, I'm almost certainly getting first here if I want to push to get even more. Because you have to think not only in terms of this individual game, but in terms of the league as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting to just look at your standings and figure out whether you need to push it hard or not. And it's also interesting as a side note for those of us who are in the A1 league because we can't promote. We only have the championships, so I think a lot more focus is on just not demoting. But it's a completely different style of play if you want to promote, I would say.
Right. And Michael is right in the middle of the pack in Beast 2 here, looking at the standings. So having a very strong first could easily get them up there.
That attempt to Suji trap the 3-pin Tanki actually immediately backfired with the drawing the 6 again.
Oh, and it looks like Michael does complete another one of those 1, 2, 3
Chi.
shapes. Ooh, but we haven't. Oh, and
Don't.
there goes the 3 so.
That's
Tanyao Nomi.
actually a very important that he got the hit on his nearest point competitor too, because it really narrowed the gap. Oh, can we go back? We shifted and the dealer's kept. Thank you.
There we go. Yep. So as you said, that's exactly right. Closing that gap, making it even easier to get over there into the third. And this hand, still a ways away, but definitely has potential here. You already have 2 completed shapes. That 7-mon draw is very nice.
Going around the table, we see a Hatsu pair on
Boom.
the right. Now Hatsu pawn on the right, just trying to probably end this dealership and get a few points. Dora acceptance as well. Across the way, we have some awkward shapes, some good shapes. There's a usable Dora in the hand, which is always nice. And Michael on the left has possible Itsu and Manzu, and also a possible 3, 4, 5 Sanshoku. So a lot of choices here.
Ooh, and that Dora draw over to the right fits very well into the hand. This Dora draw, however, does not fit nicely into the hand, but chooses to hold on to it anyway. Oh, and looks like dealer is Ishan 10.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good Ishan 10 with the floating 7 and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, the Yonrenke 4 in sequence that can accept a lot of tiles for a Tenpai.
Right. You hope that you get Pinfu out of
Gee.
this, but
I
honestly,
think with this hand, any Sozu draw is Tenpai, actually.
right. And interesting call here from Michael. 1, 2, 3. So I
Wants to
guess
force
going
the
for
Itsu,
Itsu.
yes, and it's one of those things where if you want to do that, you may want to get rid of the Dora sooner than later.
Right. Because that door is not helping you at all.
Gee.
Well, we see the call, yes. And so that door is coming out right
Each.
there. Ooh, and dealer is in Tenpai here for Reach and Pinfu, waiting on 5 and 8. Unfortunately, we see all the
However,
5s
however,
being
the
used
7 is
up.
safe. The 7 is safe to the Ricci, and it's what Michael's waiting on. So we might see it come out right now, even as possible, because it's kind of in the middle of that block.
Right, and oh, but chooses instead to toss that Dora
A
into
very
the dealer
spicy
reach.
decision.
Gee.
All right, so we have another Tenpai waiting on 6, 9. Oh, and there goes that 8. Is it going to come out? Yeah, it is.
Gong.
And that is huge for Yuan-Chi here.
Yeah, this is exactly what they want.
'Cause now they're out of fourth.
Right. Now you need to spend that time to try to get some more space and maybe even aim for second. Second's still a little far away, but if you keep
There's
this
still at a
dealership up,
minimum 2 hands left, so anything can happen, but that is just a massive amount of damage control there to move from essentially negative points all the way up into third.
right? And hey, we saw Michael go to 6 Hamba on his dealership. We're already up to 3 here. Why not go all the way?
Home.
But looking at the hands here, dealer, some nice shapes here. Be interesting to see if they decide to go for more of a Tanyao thing, dropping that 9 in the south or wherever the hand may take them. Over to the right, 2 door in hand. That 5-pin draw is excellent to fit in here. Definitely could be Pinfu, maybe Itsu, but probably not because you would like to keep both of those Dora in your hand. Across the way, we've already had a call of Haku and some nice shapes up here. And over to the left, some very excellent shapes. We already have uh, 3 completed melds. You have a pair.
There's a lot of tiles to Tenpai here. It's Ishan 10. It's got basically a floating 5 and a floating 6, but the floating 5 has a lot more options with the since it's right against the 3, 4.
Ooh, and a nice draw there, getting that 8, making this almost certainly a Pinfu hand. And hey, reach Pinfu, two Dora, maybe Tanyao. That's the kind of hand you want.
地
But we do have a call here. So across the way, Tenpai waiting on 4-7. Looks like all the sevens are being
Boom.
used in the hand, but oh, there goes the 4, and this is going to hurt. After all of that very hard fought work to get into third place, they're going to drop back down to fourth.
Just 100 points though, so this is a really tense situation for the two of them to just you just have to jockey to not be in fourth here. However, the dealer can just keep this running too.
Right.
Or we
And
already see a tune call, so
a
the
tune
wheels
call
are in motion.
and two Dora in the hand, and they're already each on 10. So, yeah, call away. Try to confirm that third. I wouldn't even think about trying to make the hand work for second.
Since they're 15,100 away, you'd need from second. You'd need a Baimon Sumo. A Hanuman Sumo would fall short by 100 points, so it's really, really difficult.
Right. Interesting decision that they have now. Does decide to toss out that 5. You could change this to a toy if you wanted to, but you just want speed. As anything you can get
Yeah.
as fast as possible.
The toy is useful for getting first if the player on the right would deal right into it. Because the 16,000 point swing was what we're looking for here, and that's why Baimon Sumo came to mind.
Right. Well,
Boom.
not first, second.
For
Oh,
second,
and
yeah,
there's
sorry,
that.
yeah. First is well out of reach.
Yeah, you need a couple Yakuman in there to reach first. But hey, opponent of the Dora, you take that.
It's now spicy because if player on the right deals in, it would be enough for second place.
Oh, and there we go. Tenpai will be interesting. Yep, chooses to wait on 1-4.
Michael is also
Gee.
Dama with Pinfu only waiting for 2-5, so it's very lucky that that 5 went in.
And dealer honestly is close to Ishan 10. Oh, and there's that 1, which is definitely coming out. Oh, and a pause?
I think you have to take this run, even though it's third.
You have to. Oh, stream paused.
No,
Hold on a second.
we're stuck. That's why. Oh, passes
Oh,
it.
passes it. I don't know how I feel about that. I would just take it.
Sumo.
Oh, but or you can self-draw. I guess that works too.
You have to take it there because then you're free 10. There's no
Right.
going back. In their position in the standings, it might have been tempting to try to get the direct hit for second to get the 0 Uma. I mean, it's still a 3 down, so. But
Right, that is
yeah.
true. You are low enough down that maybe you want those points to try to push
So
you back up. But
a
yes,
big
as you
bump for
said,
Michael now, was slightly positive before, but now is sitting in 6th.
and finally, the game has ended.
That
That
might
was
be one
quite
of the
the long
longest
Hanki-chan,
games.
right? Even with missing a bit of it on stream at the beginning. Oh, and it looks like standings have been updated here, so we can see where everyone currently is.
Yep, despite taking the fourth there, Riley is just slightly negative and still kind of in the middle of the standings, out of the demotion zone in the middle, and UNG, they're doing just great damage control. I think I think he had negative 100 points at one point and going all the way to 20,100. You just have to take those. I mean, that's an excellent turnaround considering how it started.
So it does look like the next game has started. So it'll be up for us in a few minutes. But wow, that was quite the game. If you're Michael, you're feeling pretty happy right now. So, any expectations for this next Hancho? Anything to look forward to?
I was responding there to the general chat for the Discord, and it was a 20 hand Hanchan. I went and counted it.
Oh,
It was very long, not necessarily lengthy in time, not the longest Hanchan in time, but I don't know how to compare it. I don't have the history, but 20 hands is quite a long game.
so do you want another long, long game?
Yeah, well, we'll see what we get. In terms of what we expect to see in the next game, thinking we're going to see Michael hope to continue the momentum because now he is within reach of the playoff spots. That play B1-2 playoff spot sitting there at 83.6 is well within a reach of a first, even a normal size first, not like the big one we just saw. As for the other players, Riley is in reach of getting back to positive with a win, and then you're definitely going to see Jian and Guangxi go for just a solid win here to move up. There's still a few games remaining, so definitely the B2-3 playoff spots to avoid promotion are within reach, if not higher.
And it
Like the
looks like
game
the
is going
game
to
is
start.
just going to start in 1 minute. And after that long Hanchan, everyone can get up, stretch, have their coffee.
I'm going to excuse myself for a coffee refill, actually. So please go ahead with the thing when it starts, and I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, and here it is right now. So, looking here, dealer in pretty good shapes here. Has some potential, though still a ways to go, honestly. Over to the right, kind of the same sort of thing. Actually, a little bit worse. Uh, across the table, ooh, two Dora in hand. So that's very nice. Has a lot of pairs. So it'll be interesting to see how those play out, though. At least some of them are partially connected. And over to the left, we have an Anko of the Tuso. We have a pair of White Dragon. We have some good shapes here. So I think to the left is the best hand so far. Though looking at the dealer, did manage to complete that Anko of the North. Picks up a 7, trying to maybe see if you can get Dora acceptance, though it's still a bit of ways.
I mean, it's going to be hard. I'm back now. It's going to be hard to get Dora acceptance. I mean, if you draw the Dora, you can accept it, but then you're going to be free 10 on the 8 because it was already thrown.
Ah, yes, I did not see that. But oh, we have a reach. So with that Haku draw, it will be waiting on 2 and 5 for Michi Haku. We see 2 of the Tumon in the dealer's hand, 1 over to the right. So still 5 more draws, or 5 more tiles left in the wall. Maybe a 2 could come out here, but doesn't. Decides to toss that 4.
If you cut the 2 here, I mean, you deal in, but if you cut the 2 here and it doesn't deal in, you make your 7 worthless because then your 8s are pretty much have to be your pair.
That is
So
very true.
that for in terms of like dealer efficiency, I want to keep my dealership. That's a fine move.
1、
Well, picks
And
up
they
that 5.
what,
And what
6-9
will.
probably.
Yes. Waiting on 6-9 for reach only.
They managed to find the not free 10 weight portion of this.
Oh, there's another 5. But it does fit in that shape that they have there. So pretty safe.
It's like the 6-9 is a 4-5 tile weight as well. 4 tile weight, 1 discarded, and a few head
Wrong.
up. There's the 2.
Oh, and there's that too. So reach, Haku, no aura. All right, continuing over. Have a lot of tiles here in Pinzu. So there are potential Itsu if they get some good draws, maybe even a Honitsu.
With shapes
would be
like this, it
nice.
might be your only choice. I mean, you have to watch to see what comes in, but there's nothing's connected in any other suit. So, and on the right
Right.
we have Haku pair, 2 other pairs, the Rian Men, a couple floaters, Dora acceptance. Across there's a Rian Men, a couple completed shapes, Kanchan, now a Chun pair. And finally
And
on
over
the
to the
left,
left, that's a nice fill with that 8-mon there.
1、
still he's got 2 Penchans, which is not the greatest. One of them accepts Dora. We'll see. Now we have an Itsu's chance as well.
Well, the dealer has been continuing to draw Pinzu, which is nice. Cannot complain. And over to the right, we also see a few calls here. We already have that Haku call. There was another one. It looks like it's just going to end up. Well, there is that Dora acceptance, so it could be Haku Dora. But oh, no, I was going to say maybe Toy Toy, but not with that 678 call from earlier. Oh, and there
1、
goes that Dora. Yep, and there's the call. So waiting on 7 and 9. And there's one of the 9s, which may come out, and
Wrong.
it does. So Haku, 1 Dora.
It's like we've got we didn't change. I was going to say now on the left we have a pretty solid starting hand. All the shapes are already there. Desperately needs a 7-pin or to improve with the shape of the 5-pin. But now looking at the dealer, we've got Kanchan, some floaters, 1 completed shape, 1 pair. Still needs some work. On the right we have 2 Rian Men, a Penchon, otherwise just floaters. And across the way we have a lot of we do have a completed sequence of Rian Men and then just a lot of again assorted tiles. So no one closest is on the left here. And it looks like we are lagged or paused. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go. All good. So let's see. Trying to see if anything striking out to me here. The hands are just
Doesn't
continuing as normal.
doesn't look like too much changed other than across has accumulated a Haku pair. It's
Home.
probably now a pawn, and
Yep.
right has accumulated a tone pair. So, and it looks like on the closest hand on the left chose to get rid of the Kanchan pair shape on the 6-8 pin to take Dora acceptance Penchan. That's about all it's changed for them.
Home.
Now in another pawn. So it's going to be headless, waiting on that 9 pin.
Long.
Oh, and there it comes out. So Haku and one Dora.
Complete contrast to last game, we are already in East 4.
Right. Everyone's just speeding along here. It's almost like they want to make up for all the time they spent on the first Tanchan.
So we have dealer here with some awkward shapes, choosing to get rid of that Sha pair already. On the right, we have two pairs, two pairs, two penchans in a sequence. That's going to need a little bit of work to make a good weight, but if the right tiles come in, of course, it will happen. They have a Dora as well. Across, we have Penchan Ryanmen, pretty good shapes there, actually, just to get into Tenpai quickly. And the extra tiles, at least the Sha is safe. The Haku has not come out yet. And on the left, we have the Anko of Tuso with an adjacent tile and some completed shapes. That's pretty close as well.
Dealer picking up some more Manzu tiles. Could see an Itsu here. Oh, nice pickup with that
Both of the
4.
Forsos drawn, the one across the way and the dealer's hand, were pretty huge to get rid of bad shapes.
Indeed.
Connecting the floater and getting a Dora acceptance for the dealer, and then just getting rid of the 1-3 Kanchan for the player across. Both were nice draws.
Speaking of upgrades, getting that 4 there. Not quite Ishan 10, though.
Nope, essentially it was a 6-block hand, and they chose to get rid of the isolated pair and keep all the connected tiles, which, in terms of just efficiency, is the right move there.
Oh, and it looks like we have a Ricci here. Over to the right, waiting on 8-mon and 5 pin.
5 pin being a Nakasuji trap, so we will see if somebody will discard that.
Right. Currently, it's only 1 5 pin on the table in the dealer's hand.
Surely you would cut the 2 first, I think, here.
Yeah,
That's actually
surely you
moving
would, because that's 100% safe. Yeah, so there's 1 8-mon and 1 5 pin left in the wall.
Sumo.
Oh, and there's that sumo. No reach, sumo, Dora. No Ura.
Not a lot of game-breaking or ground-breaking Ura in these games. Even the last one, I think there was just one. I have to go back and look at the thing, but I think there was just one Ura, and it was a increase from 4 to 5 Han, so it did nothing for the hand value because it was not a pin food.
Right, this Hanchan has been very different as compared to the last one. Just looking at these scores, everyone is within easy striking distance. So these standings can easily switch around in the south round.
Got some really good shapes for the dealer here. Hatsu pair. big starting hand for Jian on the right with the double non anko across, same pretty
Boom.
good shapes, and we just had a tune call from the player on the left. So everyone, I think, has a reason to fight with their hand here until somebody gets close or reaches or shows something threatening.
Yeah, those two Dora up there across the way. Very nice. I wonder if we're going to see some calls here or
Yeet.
if they're
We got a
going to
10-5
oh,
there,
there's
taking
Tenpai.
the Shabo on the 2-9 so. The other option was a 7 so Penchon.
Boom.
Oh, and we do see that call.
The Shabo is interesting though because it does get enough food to get to 50 on a 9. With the Penchant, it would not be able to without a Sumo, and then it would just get 40.
Ooh, and there's that 9.
Boom.
And out it goes.
So that'll be 5,200 barring no Urn. No, 64? 64. Yep.
Yep, 64. Always fun to see a 50 fu hand. Doesn't come up as often as you would think.
And it's kind of like those little decision-making processes. You think like what's different between the 7 so and the Shabo there? Well, if the 2 came out, nothing, because it's just 40 fu. It would be no, it's still 50 exactly. So the Shabo just
Boom.
gets you there.
So looking at the hands here, dealer that was a very nice 7-mon draw has 1 Dora and some pretty nice shapes and another excellent fill with the 2-mon. So now they're Ishan 10. Over to the right, we have a Chun call with some pretty good shapes here. Have 1 Dora in hand that can easily be incorporated. Across the way, let's see, there's that Anko of 8 so. And some Ramnen shapes to be completed. So 1 mon draw. We could see a potential for Ipeiko, but chooses not to take that. Not surprising. Oh, well, they couldn't have taken it considering that there are 2 Dumon out on the table. So it would have been very sad if they
If you
had
cut
taken it.
the extra 5 mon there, you actually have a 135 Ryukan though, so you can accept the 4 for Pinfu as well.
Chi.
So
That is true.
maybe a little bit of lost efficiency there.
And we have another call from the player on the right, but still not in Tenpai.
Interesting with the third 3 choosing to keep the Anko there. That's with a 6 mon draw, you can at least pivot to a Tanyo now.
Another 6 coming
Chi.
out. Yep, and there's that call. So now waiting on 5-8 pin. Looks like we see all of the 5s are in players' hands. And there's 1 8-pin left. Or 1 8-pin on the board,
Boom.
and there's another one. Chundora.
Another quick 2000. That's kind of a fast hand here, but now they get the dealership and they also bring a player below 30k, so they're sharing in the negative now.
Have we even had a single
Boom.
dealer repeat here?
No, pretty big contrast from the last game. This has been very speedy. Going
So the
around the
dealer
table this
here
time.
has
Yep, go ahead.
some nice shapes. Still a ways to go though. Maybe you could switch this to Tanya if you just want a cheap calling hand, but dealer is in last, though all the points are pretty close. So any
Even a dealer
one,
repeat is okay, yeah, I think.
right,
本
any one semi big hand would be enough to get you easily into first. Looking over to the right, also have some good shapes here. Possible Ipe code chance 345. If you want to, possible
Possible
Rian Peiko.
Reiko, yeah.
All right. We
1
didn't see Rian Peiko last time. Maybe
Those
this time,
shapes, it's
but
looking for the middle of both of them. It's not great, but it's I think the dealer might still be faster here.
or even faster still
Oh,
across the table,
just
just waiting
immediately
on that
draws
chun.
into it. No, that Foramon is amazing draw there.
Oh,
1
Ricci, Rian Peiko chance waiting on
Tanya,
4,
Rian Peiko.
and 3 of them are left in the wall. So this has potential.
The Ricci makes it a Mangan
Oh,
with
and there's that
Sumo.
4. So there's one of them.
It's now
Oh, and
Nakasuji trapped.
now it's Suji trapped.
Some intense hand here.
Come on, we want to see that round Peiko. Though I am a little worried about that chun over to the left that may just come out.
The Dora, it's really hard to throw, especially from the lead.
It is the Dora. I did
Yeah,
not
I don't think it's
notice.
going anywhere. It's
That is fair. Oh, and
Oh,
there it
sumo.
is! There it is!
gonna be a Hanemon at least. Ricci,
Ricci,
Sumo.
Sumo, Rian Peiko, Tanyao,
Oh,
and Ura 2
so Baimon. Okay, that's
Baimon. So after this Hanchan of cheap hands and quick wins, we have a
Michael still
Baimon.
proves that he has the momentum from the last game, and that's just horrible for Yuan Shi going into this last hand because he ate the Kabari for 8,000.
Oh, wow. I'm always happy when I see a Rian Peiko.
We'll
They're
concentrate on
just
the
so
positive.
nice.
That is such an exciting
Oh, looks
hand.
like a refreshing hand.
We don't see very many Round Peiko at all, so. And of course, with Beyond Peiko, you're always going to get Ura too if you get Ura and you reach it. Because
Why,
it's
yes.
essentially 7 pairs, but they're just in sequences.
All right, looking around the table, dealer has a pretty good hand going on right here. Could accept the Dora if it comes by. Has some good shapes. Has some even better shapes with that 5 Montreal. Could get into Ipeco territory. Probably not a Rian Peiko again, though.
On the right, we've got really good shapes, just the whole thing, and there's some motivation to even win 1,000 points because it is essentially going to bring you from -5 to a 0, Uma. Actually, there's a Dora there anyway, so if they can get the Sumo, that's a 2,500 point swing. They would get second place.
And let's see, across the way, have some completed shapes here. Have an Anko sequence. Oh,
Yeah,
I suppose that is Yishanten.
yes, it is.
Not the best Yishanten. But hey, you take it.
On the left, it's a rather interesting situation. Kind of like, where do you get the points to get out of last? It's really difficult with this hand. 3, 4, 5 Sanshoku is a chance, and there's the Haku pair there, and a Dora.
Right. I would be a little hesitant though, calling that Haku pair It may not be enough
You
unless
need to
you can
sumo a Hanemon
confirm.
here
Yeah.
with the 13,600 point gap.
リーチ
Oh, and we have a Ricci waiting on 3-6. Or no, sorry. I cannot read 4-7. Excuse me. So getting the 4 would be Ipeko.
Hmm.
So it looks like both 4s are in other players' hands. So probably not coming out.
It's tricky if you're in Riley's position to figure out what to do here, because if you win this hand with the stick, now you're going into second place and over 30K, so it's a huge win. But you also have to navigate this Ricci, because if you deal in, the game just continues, and then you just get closer into fourth.
チ
Okay, he's going for it. That's still Ishan 10 yet? Yes.
Yes.
リーチ
Oh, and we see another reach. Waiting on
ドン
9 and 8. Oh, and there's the
Comes out.
Ron for the Ipatsu. So reach, Ipats. No Ura. But that is going to end it. And Gian confirms that second place there. So,
Did wait for the standings to be updated in a moment. We'll talk about that, but Michael just continues the momentum.
oh, and there they are updated. Michael moving up a couple slots.
I think Michael may be in a playoff spot now. I think fourth and fifth are the B1, B2 playoff spots, and with games to go, it's still possible to move into the B1 territory. Yep, we see that Michael moved into a playoff spot currently. Riley is just in the middle, one spot out of the 2-3 playoff spot, and unfortunately for Wanji and Jian, they both have fallen a couple placements and now still within reach of just avoiding the B3 demotion completely, because it's like only 100 points. So with one session, you can definitely do that. And they still have 2 games to play in this session as well, which I don't think we're going to be seeing today.
Right. Having those 2 games makes things interesting considering that Wanji and Gian are right neck and neck next to each other. So with those 2 Hantron, you may start to think about positional play of, oh, I really want to hit this person in particular because we're so close. So yes, I think that's going to be it from us for this stream. So any closing words?
At the moment, no, it was a couple interesting games. One was like a really long slog with this huge, huge victory for Michael there, and the second one was pretty calm, pretty fast until we saw that this massive Yampeiko Tsumo. I think looking
Alright.
at the current standings, we see on the screen here, one of the interesting takeaways just from what we see for their B2B is that how big the gap is. Even though Michael's sitting in a B1, B2 playoff spot, how big the gap is to just get into a guaranteed B1 slot. You'd have to double what his current score is, because 160 is the bottom B1 promotion guaranteed slot.
All right. So I think with that, we can sign off. Thank you everyone for coming.